Today we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end.
The world is a better place with Gaddafi gone.
If you have studied
This was a sad
history,
day
then you must have heard of
in history
the famous
when
Libyan
America
revolutionist and politician.
assassinated this
If not, then
leader.
learn about him from this video. Muammar Mohammed Abu Niger al-Gaddafi, commonly known as Muammar Gaddafi, was a great African revolutionary leader born on June 7,
For some reason, they're always
1942
targeting
in Castle
Africa and
Al-Raqqa,
African
Libya.
governments,
Gaddafi led
presidents.
Libya for 42 years, that is from 1969 to 2011. It is good to note that his rule ended when he was captured and killed on October 20, 2011, after the Battle of Sirte. Many people attached his death to several causes or reasons, but in this video, you shall discover the real reason why he was killed. Gaddafi was captured by the National Transitional Council forces in Libya and was killed after several accusations. Looking at the number of reasons why Mohammed Gaddafi was killed, you might begin to wonder if this was because of excess dictatorship.
Assassination,
And if it
basically,
was,
from
then you might also
oil and
wonder
money.
what type of leadership such a dictator had. Before his death, Muammar Gaddafi went to take refuge in a large drainage pipe.
Yeah, that's
accompanied
like
by
Saddam
good
Hussein when they
bodyguards.
catch Saddam Hussein
When the
in
National
a ditch.
Transitional Council
Same
fighters
same
came,
thing.
they opened fire, which saw the demise of the long-hunted Gaddafi. Here is the real reason why he was killed.
Stick a pin before they continue. And Gaddafi ruled Libya, which is an African country, for over 40 years, 40 decades. So that's like, since, as I said earlier, since in the 60s. And when he was assassinated, don't forget, when he was assassinated, it was widely known that he was targeted by governments all over the world, come together, find a reason to go after him and assassinate him. And you're gonna see the reason why all of this was done, because I saw this video already, so I decided let's do a video on it, a review, because I've known this for a while, but most people don't know this. Again, it's hidden from the giant media platform. When they do these things, like Africa is always a target. I don't know why they're always talking Africa. They have killed multiple presidents in Africa. Whenever they try to elevate Africa, they find a reason to assassinate them, saying they're dictators, terrorist group, because Gaddafi led Libya for far some years. He never had an issue. As soon as America went, those countries went over there and killed Gaddafi, now Libya is in turmoil ever since. And let's continue.
As earlier mentioned, Gaddafi was killed after being accused of several actions and attempts, most especially his desire to put forth an African gold-backed currency.
That's the reason why they killed him. The back.
According to credible and reliable sources, he was not killed for humanitarian purposes.
Hell no.
Power or
He's one of the most humanitarian
Gaddafi
presidents.
suffered torture from the Western National Transitional Forces before finally giving up the ghost at the Battle of Sirte. If Gaddafi had succeeded to establish such a monetary system in Africa, the United States of America, Asia, and Europe
Would
have
feel
been
it.
forced to buy
France,
oil and
England.
minerals in the African gold-backed currency, which would have tipped up sales. Gaddafi was strongly pushing this agenda via the African Union, especially when he...
Stick a pin before they go no further. You see the gold dinar, denari, that was, remember, Libya has the most gold in reserve. They have, I think, 144,000 tons of gold Libya had, plus they had oil. America, I think if you get all the European countries and put them together, they don't have as much gold in reserve, including China, England, France, Holland, all the major companies, the major countries in the world, and then all together they don't have as much gold in reserve as Libya did. And don't forget, Libya has oil as well. So if, and Africa in general, because if Gaddafi had get through to do the new currency, which is a gold dinar, the American US dollar would plummet, the franc, the euro would plummet, the pound would plummet, because they don't have enough gold in reserve to do this exchange of goods with that new currency. Africa does. So yeah.
was the chairman in 2009. The idea was greatly turned down by the Western powers because it will devalue their currencies and work negatively on their economies, and as a result they would have less or no control over African countries. In other words, Gaddafi's plans for Africa would have put an end to neocolonialism.
Facts.
NATO's
Elevate
plan
Africa.
to kill Gaddafi is the same as that of Iraqi leader Saddam
Saddam
Hussein.
Hussein. I said the same thing
Saddam
earlier.
Hussein was assassinated by the U.S. partly because he chose to sell his country's oil in the euro currency at the expense of the United States dollars. Now the United States was scared and skeptical about the instability the gold dinar will cause to its economy. Hushin's decision to sell oil in the euro was a blow to the United States, worsened by the proclamation that
It's
the
all
dollar was
about
the
profit.
currency.
Nothing has to do with stabilizing the
All
world or
these would
anything.
have brought back another currency war, which in history was very common, especially in intra-Western and Middle East countries. According to the International Monetary Fund's report, Libya's central bank in 2011
They're our next
possessed
group
an
again, a
estimated
bunch of
amount
crooks.
144 tons of gold in its vaults.
You hear that? 144,000 tons of gold. And silver.
Which he previewed that all African and Muslim nations will adopt. Although he had this in mind, he felt it could be some sort of rivalry with the euro and dollars.
Of course.
How the United States
Gold is the most valuable
used the
asset
gold dinar.
out there. We're one off.
A senior advisor to the United States President, Sidney Blumenthal, indicated to his Secretary General, Hillary Clinton, through an email that Gaddafi's government was holding 143 tons of gold and similar amounts of silver in their bank. In late March 2011, these stocks were taken to the southwest direction of Libya's border with Niger and Chad. More heat was added to the matter when former French President Nicolas Sarkozy,
I've
who
never had
also
a president.
interest
He's one
in
of the
Libya,
worst
wrote
presidents
about the
France
gold
ever
and
had.
silver that
Ever
the
had.
country had. He also therefore embarked on attacking Libya. Some of Sarkozy's
Stick up in. So you see, it was a concerted effort. It was they come together to destabilize Libya. No, up to today, no one knows what happened to all that oil and gold. Remember, 144,000 tons of gold and the same weight in silver. It is the most gold in reserve of any country, as I said earlier, put together. So where all that money went? If he was a dictator, why is the country is still in turmoil up to today? He can't catch himself up to today. But while he was in power, Libya run so smooth, and they're gonna show you some reasons of why why Libya was one of the top countries then on all the things they do for what that Gaddafi did for his citizens. They're gonna see no other country do what he did. Well, except maybe Cuba.
His plans was to gain a share in Libyan oil production, to
Yeah.
increase their
It's
French
all about
influence
oil.
in this country and North Africa,
And
to
gold.
improve his internal political situation in France, to provide the
Sarkozy,
French
I never had a
military
president,
with a
man.
chance to regain its position in the world, and to address Gaddafi's plans of freeing the so-called Francophone Africa from the parasitic French control. Hillary Clinton, the then United States Secretary of State, after hearing this, sought to prevent creation of such a currency in Africa. This hard
Yeah, man,
currency
is it?
would have allowed Africa to shake off the last heavy chains of colonial exploitation in the continent. The
And they
alleged
can't allow that.
email of Hillary Clinton had far-reaching implications on the fluid state of post-colonial relations with the West. If this is to be likened to something, then it is an eye-opener. Where Africa seeks to build an independent economic structure, the West is seen to try and derail this.
Stick up in, and as the guy is saying there, the West cannot allow for all of this to happen because, again, the currency gonna plummet. Not whether you want to, it's gonna plummet because for you to, then they would have to in turn go and buy gold to trade for oil and for goods in these African countries, in Africa, in the continent in itself, because Gaddafi was targeting the entire continent to switch to the new currency. Because what? Africa has the most gold. Period.
So as to retain its primacy in world affairs. That is why Gaddafi saw an unexpected death due to his desire to get Africa and Muslim states a new currency. If you were just
So
joining us, then you
destabilize the
were watching
West,
the real
actually.
reason why Gaddafi was killed. Like the video and share it so it reaches many more Africans. You can also subscribe to our channel.
Yeah,
and turn on
this
the
is information for the channel. You can go and check it
in order
out.
not to miss any of our
This
amazing
channel.
content. Let us talk more about the Gold Dinar, a groundbreaking dream for Africa. Gaddafi's objective of this new currency was to divert oil revenues towards the state-controlled funds rather than American banks. In other words, it was aimed at stopping the use of the dollar for oil transactions in African countries, most especially Nigeria,
Yeah, big blow to the
Tunisia,
American economy.
Egypt, and Angola. In fact, these countries were ready to change their currencies as soon as the Golden Dinar was launched. Unfortunately, in March 2011, NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization coalition forces, began a military action in Libya
That's
in
again.
freedom and humanitarian concerns. Unfortunately, many ignorant Libyans listened and believed
Stick up in. It is my belief that NATO is a wolf in sheep clothing organization. They will come, so they come in peace, but they do nothing to help the country they say they are there to help. NATO, it's a wolf in sheep clothing. That's what it is. Plain and simple.
the Western media instead of backing their leader. Gaddafi succeeded to rule Libya for over 42 years because he managed to gain support of many Libyan
Listen to the
tribes
things
by
that
providing them
he
with
did
food,
while he was in power
clothes,
over
free
40
gas,
four
free health
decades.
system, as
40
well
something
as cheap
years.
and affordable education.
Listen,
Gaddafi's death marked the end of an African dream. Muhammad Gaddafi wanted to stay away from American influence in his oil transactions by using the Golden Dinar. He launched a project for this currency, and other African nations were ready to give him massive support. This was an African dream, but at the same time, it was going to be a nightmare for Western banking, which
Of course,
greatly
it would be a
benefits the
big
USA and most European countries.
issue.
The North Atlantic Treaty Organization's forces were involved in Gaddafi's capture, while the Libyan military were also on the ground to enhance defense. The NATO forces opened fire in a pipeline hideout where Gaddafi was seeking refuge, wounding him on the leg and back. According to one of the unnamed National Transitional Council fighters, one of Gaddafi's own loyalists also shot him, apparently to spare him from being captured. Few minutes later, as the fighting continued, Muammar Gaddafi was killed. Several videos related to his death were shown on television and circulated on the internet. The leader was killed alongside his son, Muhsin
That's a detour
and
and
they were
for
buried
other,
a few
leaders who
days
try to
after
do what
their
he tried to do.
assassination. Let's look at other reasons that led to the killing of Muammar Gaddafi.
Still one by one.
Besides all what you have watched about why Muammar Gaddafi was killed,
Stick up in. And as I said, the Western media, it's a powerful machine. They paint a narrative and push it out to the mass. Because right now, it's one person who owns 6 different news organizations like CNN, MSNBC, CBC. All of those companies, not like it's separate entities. It's they all under one umbrella, like Fox and Disney and all those channels. They're all owned by the same person. So it's not like it's individual companies reporting the news. It's one person at the helm, and he tactically send out to paint the narrative you want, and anyone worldwide. It don't always work, but majority of the time it works. And in Gaddafi case, they villainize him through the media before they went into Libya.
there are also points from credible media sources that facilitated this process. As a strong and very dynamic leader, loved by the people of Libya, there were some things Gaddafi did for the people, which were not pleasing in the eyes of his opponents. 1. In Libya, there was no payment for electricity during
Hear that?
Gaddafi's reign. Electricity was free for all citizens.
40 years.
Education and healthcare were almost free, or close to nothing for most Libyans to afford. 2. With an excellent management of oil revenues, the Libyan state had managed to store hundreds of tons of about 143 tons of gold, according to WikiLeaks, and the same amount of silver. All these
Stick up in. If y'all remember WikiLeaks, so there was Arthur Julian Assange, I think is his name, when he released all the documents worldwide about the things that America was doing. Libya was on that list with the gold, dinar, and the oil, and they want to capture everything. And you see, the man had a free educational system and almost a free healthcare system. No other country does this. Check it out. No other country on earth do this what Gaddafi did. And that's number 2. I think they're going to list like 8 of things he did. Why the Libyans had loved him so much until they make the media turn them against him.
Resources were going to make Libya the most influential country in Africa, supplanting France, for instance. 3. There were no interest on loans in Libyan banks and state-owned financial enterprises. Loans were given at 0% interest rate by law. 4. Living in a house was a must-have issue for all Libyans. Gaddafi even vowed that his parents would not get a house until everyone in Libya had one.
That's dedication.
In fact, having a house in Libya was considered a human right. 5.
Stick up in. So, 1 was free education, 2 was almost free healthcare, 3 was bank loans is 0%. So, you basically don't pay the interest on the loan on the ticket. So, if you take 10,000 from the bank, you pay back 10,000 to the bank. So, no other country does this, especially in the Western world. They kill you with tax, with percentage when you take a loan. 10, 11, 12, 13, 15%, up to 15% in interest. And then 4 was all citizen is obligatory to get a home. And I think if you get married to, the government give you money plus money to build or buy an apartment. So that's 4 things he did why he was so loved for so many land. Again, no other nation does this. Let's continue. See what 5 is.
All newly wedded couples in Libya received money from the government to build new apartments. 6. Necessities were given out freely or at very affordable prices to Libyans to better their lives, amongst others. All these were seen as provocative and dictatorial to those who were not in support of Gaddafi's projects, which at the end culminated to some fighting and subsequent killing of the revolutionary leader of Libya. All these other reasons why Gaddafi was killed are gotten from the Muslim Times media source. Gaddafi even carried out the world's largest irrigation project in Libya, the Great Man-Made River.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Utilized giant
in
pipes to send fresh water from the Nubian sandstone aquifer system fossil aquifer across Libya, and it was
that's supposed to worth billions of dollars now.
No loans from the IMF or China. Unfortunately, NATO forces intentionally
stick up in. So you see, because he did not take a loan from the IMF or from China or from no country, because he was super rich. So and then no, the Western countries don't like this. They don't like when nobody's not beholden to them. The IMF screws up every single country they goes into when they come on to a loan. When they give you a big loan, they screw your country up because it's like giving you a nickel and you have to give them a dollar, basically. And that's how the IMF work. I don't like that organization. Just like NATO, wolf in sheep clothing, a gang, basically.
And under strict orders, destroyed this irrigation system, and even went further to destroy the factory where the pipes for this project were manufactured. This was a project that was aimed at helping Libyans, so why destroy it
free water
to free the same Libyans? That is how you saw it on this video titled, The Real Reason Why Gaddafi Was Killed. We hope you now have ample facts to back your doubts.
Stick up in, I think he's gonna stop this. But imagine that thing. Imagine the man was running, basically making a river, but with big header pipes, and his own opposition. He was so good and he was so loved. The opposition did everything in their power, join up with the Westerners again, as they always do when they come on to Africa. They always join up with the Westerners, with France, China, England, Europe. Let's say Europe and America. They joined together and do everything in their power to destabilize Libya, which in the end they did, because they went and worked with the opposition, and then the opposition can't get a break because Gaddafi didn't do a good job with free food, free healthcare, basically free healthcare. Can you say you barely pay the money? Free water, free electricity, you get a house, especially if you're married, free education, and almost free healthcare. So this guy was doing things that the West hate, because the West never did nothing for free. Because you have student loan and education for people racked up to education. Healthcare system is a mess in any developed countries ago right now. from Canada come right down. Homes are hella expensive. Now homes is costing millions. If you don't have 300,000 and up, you can get a decent house right now. And the government, when it comes to food, you have people starving, even though I think in America alone they dump like 6 football field of food per year. So, guys, I had to watch a documentary on fruits, and if the fruit have a bruise on it, the company don't sell it to the factory. They toss it aside, and then those things are get thrown out or leave on the ground when they're picking them. Any kind of deform. So instead they take those now and send it to other countries that like will need. Because fruit, it takes a while to rot, and if you put it on the and shipping it goes. Cause we have food from all over the world that comes to the Caribbean, as an example. So they can solve the food crisis if they want to, but they don't want to, because if you keep people at a certain level, then the powers to be will always be here. You'll always need them. That's why they have Section 8 homes, and they give free money to mothers to kick fathers out of the house, because if you do that, you keep them at a level where they cannot rise. So it's a concerted effort worldwide that every government do to keep the citizens under wraps. So if Gaddafi had get the chance to replicate what he did in Libya in other African countries, the West would implode. So for not to do that, then kill him. Now Libya is in a mess. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. They say he have weapons of mass destruction. Then it turned out that wasn't the case. They killed him for the oil. And there's other presidents that was assassinated in Africa. I can't get them off the top of my head right now, but there's other. I'll do another video on that to see on all the assassination that happened and why over the years with African countries and with African countries. So anyway, hope you learned something. Hope you learned something new. And you can go and look up this information yourself. It's not necessarily you have to listen to what I'm saying or what this video is saying. There is ample proof and facts and evidence out there for you to go find if you want to look deep into this, see if it's true or false. So if you don't know what it is, this is the Washington SXM podcast as always. Don't forget, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that like button. It helps with the algorithm for this video to go to the masses. You don't know. Peace, one love. Boom.